Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. Hang out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy is Ted.
With great power comes great responsibility. DMing the rules.
Jump down in the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Alright, a big part of this game, when you're the Dungeon Master, is having to interpret and adjudicate the rules. Sometimes you can pull them right out of the books, or from a source like D&D Beyond. Maybe one of your players has an eclectic memory of all these things, or sometimes you just have to make them up as you go.
And that can be difficult. And sometimes it slows the game down if you got a quick pull out the books. And I've seen people that they've got like the little sticky notes sticking out everywhere to be able to jump right to whatever's important to them.
You mean dog ears?
Like the dog ears or like the little sticky notes that you can stick in the books.
Yeah, it's called a dog ear.
Oh, okay.
They dog ear their book.
So you can go right to those, but not everybody does that. Not everybody wants to take a break from the action to jump in. So as a DM, you really have to get in there and just say, all right, for this moment at this time, this is my rolling. We're going to go with it. And 5e supports that Dungeon Master power. It says, okay, it's your game. Play it however you want. Not every player really wants their DM to have that.
Well, and here's the other thing. Like, part of that is, like you're saying, is like, well, you have to figure out the rules as you go. Sometimes as a GM, you just want to make the ruling you want to make, which may or may not conflict with other rules. You may have house rule or change things because this is how you want to play the game. Or you could even just be mistaken or not sure. Now, the reason why we're doing this video is we saw in the 5th edition group, a GM was like, I'm kind of getting annoyed and tired of it. Every time I make a ruling, one of my players will go online and try to countermand whatever the ruling is that I've made, which sucks and is annoying as the GM, and I would just eventually ask them to leave, because if you don't like how I run the game, don't play in it. It's really that simple. It's fine, because part of GMing is you kind of get to dictate how the game goes to a certain extent, and you as the player has the choice to partake in that game or not. Now, there are some areas, like if you're going to do a lot of drastic changes from the rules in the book, and these are kind of your home rules, your house rules, these are things you might want to bring up in the beginning of the game, especially if they're going to affect the way people have for normal expectations of the way the game runs.
Now, every game is going to be different. Every DM has their own personal style, however they've come. But when you decide to sit down and play this game, you have to have some respect for the DM and the environment that it's being run in. The other players at the table and its processes. Now, if the DM is running in a style that you don't like, and as a player you can't get them to understand your viewpoint, then maybe it's not for you. As a DM, if you've got a player that's constantly bucking at what you're doing, it's actually taking away from the entire table's enjoyment. And we all know that GMs put in a lot of work to provide entertainment in this cooperative story. And if you're going to remove yourself from it, to argue, to literally get out of character and go online to find things to countermand the DM's ruling, where it says in the DMG specifically, if there's something you don't like, change it. This is your game. I'm sorry, I don't care what the internet says. I don't care what any other book says. That's the final ruling. Do what your DM says and move on.
Yeah, in that instance, when it comes to abdicating the rules, it's the GM's table. Like, I know this is a co-optive game. I know that, it's everyone's story and it's everyone's game. I agree with all of that. But when abdicating the rules is literally the GM's job. He might as well be wearing a referee shirt. It's a big part of the game. Now, granted, if you abuse that power or responsibility, you're going to find yourself without players. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But at the same time, you can also use that to enhance the fun of the game and have cool things happen at the table. I love the rule of cool. So, yeah, I will abdicate things all the time, and it may even go against the rules. But I tend to favor on the side of the players, especially if they're just trying to do cool and interesting things. But if they're just trying to like win D&D and get one over, yeah, you sometimes you just have to say no and slap them down. But for the most part, when people want to try crazy things, I'm all for it. I'm like, let's roll that shit up and see what happens.
Yeah, the see what happens can really make some fantastic memories. It can make stories that you're going to tell over and over again. And ultimately, that's one of the things that we're looking for. When we come to play D&D, we're looking for fun. We're looking to get away from our normal lives to do something different and to have fun with it. And if you are coming to the table with this, antagonistic or, stressful bent that, well, it's got to be my way or the highway, like, you're not adding to the environment, you're taking away.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a key difference between playing Pathfinder 3.5 and 5e, where there was so many rules and so much stuff was kind of spelled out. You could, more than likely, there was a rule for that thing you wanted, and you could spend all session looking for it. Or, in a more rules-like game like 5e, you can just go, you know what? This is how it works for this time. Maybe we'll check it out later and fix it. Or maybe like I come up with a rule on the fly and I just like this. I like how it plays out in the game, and this is just how we're going to use it. One of the keys to abdicating rules in a tabletop role-playing game is being consistent. That is by far the most important thing. Don't do it one way this session and another next and keep flipping back and forth or changing it. Now that is kind of problematic, and that is something I would avoid as a GM. Try and keep your rulings consistent, and so the players can know what to kind of expect from your game. Like if you're going to be harsh on the rules, at least do it all the time so they know that's what they can expect.
Now, the flip-flopping is absolutely bad, but if something comes up and you say, well, I'm going to roll into this now, but we'll look into it after the game is over, and you look and say, oh, well, it actually goes the opposite, well, then you can say, well, from here on out, it's the opposite. That's fine. It's just the, going back and forth is the real problem there.
Well, yeah, lack of consistency. So that's the key. A big part of GMing and the big responsibility is educating all the rules, and you're all the sensory input for the players, and you're their bridge to the world. So as a GM, you really want to respect that and try and help create this co-opted story where everyone's going to enjoy it and have a good time. And for that to be effective, there's got to be things that the players just know are going to always be the same, even if they're things that you've changed from the core rules. That consistency is key, and once they know what to expect from you, and you start learning what to expect from your players, it just makes the whole game smoother and a lot more fun. And like we said, if you don't like a call, don't do it in the middle of the game. One, it's disrespectful to everyone at the table. It's disrespectful to the GM. It's especially if it doesn't actually matter in the bigger scheme of things. Like, okay, you didn't kill the monster this time, or oh, you would have gotten missed by that attack. Big deal. Maybe if someone actually dies in the game, then you might want to look at it and retcon that. But unless it's something really severe, it's easier to just roll with it. Let the GM do their thing. And if you're really that unhappy about it, you could always take over GMing.
Or move to another table.
Or move to another table. That is true.
So what do you guys think? What kind of crazy, insane players have you had who, had a problem with your abjuration rules, or you abdicating the rules? What kind of cool stories can you share? Down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can also check us out over on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.